Welcome back. With the border nearby and the port, Houston is a hotspot for drug smugglers. But even if there was a way to stop it, we still have a major problem with drugs produced right here at home, like meth and synthetic marijuana. Here to share the trends and relatively new drugs on Houston streets and in our schools, please welcome Captain Dale Brown with the Narcotics Division at Houston Police Department. Good morning.
Thank you.
I actually heard someone say the other day, she goes, well, I'm not so concerned about my kids and drugs because, I mean, we live in a good neighborhood.
Well, that's a myth. It's a misconception. Houston is a major metropolitan area, and unfortunately, we are a major destination point, distribution point, and a gateway point to the rest of the country for drugs.
And drug abuse can be like an equal opportunity employer. I mean, it doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter how much money you have, right. It can get any one of us. The number one drug seized in Houston is marijuana, and I've also heard some parents say, what's the big deal? You know, they did it back in the day. It might be different today.
The marijuana is number one in Houston area by volume that we seize. It is decreasing, however, but it's not unusual for them to lace it or mix it with other drugs, more potent drugs such as heroin or other narcotics, and it's definitely more potent than it used to be.
Yeah, so don't just miss that. There's also this synthetic marijuana that we're seeing, but it's not really marijuana, which is another big concern is what it really is.
Correct, and we need to change that term and stop calling it synthetic marijuana because it has no connection to marijuana at all. It's synthetic cannabinoids. It's chemicals sprayed on plant-like substance that may have an appearance to marijuana but has no relationship. It's far more dangerous. It's more similar in effects to methamphetamines than it is to marijuana. So it's very dangerous.
In fact, some people who've seen to use it just kind of freak out. They think they're stronger than they are. It's just kind of, they go crazy.
Absolutely. It's the number 2 drug by high school students. It is the fastest or one of the fastest increasing in our area. And the big myth about it is it's packaged in these shiny packages. It's sold out of some stores and smoke shops.
Yeah. So you think if it's sold out of a smoke shop, then it should be okay?
It's part of their marketing, marketing to young people, making it appear that it's a legal alternative to marijuana, which it is not. It is illegal, and we are aggressively pursuing these synthetic cannabinoids.
Yeah, and as parents, you need to know some of the kind of these like names like K2, Spice, Kush, things like that. If you hear your kids talking about things like that, that's what they're referring to. Of course, methamphetamine. Those are controlled substances, whether it's the methamphetamine or prescription meds. They're controlled substances, so how are they getting out among the general public usually?
Well, the meth is coming across the border primarily from Mexico. When the U.S. laws changed a couple of years ago, it's difficult to get the chemicals here now. And so they bring it in from Asia into Mexico. They bring it in either as ice or in the liquid form. It is the fastest growing narcotic in the Houston area in the country. It's considered the number 1 drug threat in our Houston-Hyder region here along the Gulf Coast because it's more closely associated with crimes, both violent crimes and both property crimes.
Yeah, and so destructive on the body. Okay, so for the prescription medications that are supposed to be controlled, you know, we have FDA rules. How is that getting out into the general public?
So much of it is we have people who get a lot of prescriptions, more than they need. It's stolen out of your medicine cabinet, stolen out of homes, it's stolen out of burglaries, and some of that is also brought across the border. The prescription drugs actually are decreasing or flat. What's taking its place is heroin. Heroin is really increasing as well.
Is that because people are kind of transferring from the prescription drugs in many cases to the heroin?
The primary connection is they're both opioids. The heroin is now in increasing quantities across the border in Central America and Mexico. It is more potent. It's more prevalent. The price has dropped. And so if there's a crackdown on prescription drugs, people are filling that by moving over, or a price increase on prescriptions, they move over to the heroin. And so it's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. You all cannot do it alone. But, you know, I mentioned earlier that 80% of the crimes, can you imagine if 80% of crime went away tomorrow? When you're talking about the murders and the burglaries and the robberies, is people try to keep that addiction going. But you can't do it alone. You need us to be partners with you. You have StopDrugsHouston.org as a place where people can find information and basically become your community partner.
You know, absolutely. An active, informed, involved community working in partnership with their public safety professionals is the way to go to address these kind of issues. This website was sponsored by our Houston high-intensity drug trafficking area association along our region, and it is an awareness, it's an education, it's a prevention tool, it has information how to get treatment, and very importantly, it's a way for people to provide tips. If you see something in your neighborhood, if you hear information, if you know it for sure, great. Give us that tip. You do it anonymously. If you want to be in partnership with us, you can provide a contact information, and we'll get back with you to make sure that we're fully investigating it. But everything is assigned, everything is investigated. It's a very important tool for our community and for our citizens to participate in.
All right, Captain Brown, thank you very much for the work that you do. Thank you for joining us today. You can log on to stopdrugshouston.org to do that.